We'll talk about it in a second. We'll get to it in a second. Are you going to take this genocide denial, or are you committing? Joe Scarborough, Zana Saeed responds, are you going to take this genocide denial down, or are you committed to spreading lies that dehumanize Palestinians and justify the genocide? It is incredible that you have a platform as big as you do when you can't read the articles you shared yourself. Nothing was halved. A little reading comprehension would show that what you reported, that it's reported versus identified. Genocide denial is usually a bit more sophisticated than this. No. Yeah. Guys, I have to say something. Isn't it convenient that like all matter of healthcare infrastructure was blown up so that like we don't also have an accurate assessment, like a final tabulation? Isn't that so convenient? It's like, shit, man. Like all matter of records that you can cross-reference this information on is basically fucking either A, in the hands of Israel, or B, completely blown up. It's just like, yeah, don't you hate when that happens? Don't you hate when that happens, when the world is saying you're doing an ethnic cleansing campaign and like you just end up accidentally blowing up pretty much the entire infrastructure that any third party could cross-reference and actually offer adequate direct reporting on? So then like people can't really see if you've killed 8,000 babies or not babies, but 8,000 children versus 15,000 children, as though 8,000 children was like a permissible number. Shit, man. Happens all the time. I guess, you know, what a wild state of affairs. Anyway, it says that the report on a death is incomplete. The full name is not documented. That means they don't count it, even though they have a murdered Palestinian man, woman, child lying in front of them just because they don't know the name. How the fuck does that make any sense? I will once again repeat that most of these official organs and the way that they report shit is obviously going to try to massage the truth or lie by omission because they are personally invested in defending the actions of a genocidal apartheid regime. I swear to God, so many news outlets need to get their Alex Jones level lawsuits over the genocide coverage, except they won't, because Alex Jones was slandering American victims of a mass shooting. American victims of a mass shooting have access to legal recourse and are seen as equal citizens under the eyes of the law. Palestinian victims of ethnic cleansing are not seen as equal citizens or even fucking human beings. Because if they were seen as human beings from the jump, none of this shit that we're having a conversation around would even be happening. We would not be having half the conversation that we're having currently if they were already seen as full human beings. Blast off meme material. You already missed it. You already skipped your shot. Where the dog at? She's in Los Angeles. Don't remind me. Anyway, we'll get to that. But obviously, like I said, it's always darkest before the dawn, right? And these are going to be very dark moments, partially as a consequence of Israel seeing the pressure. I'll give you something that is analogous to, like, let's say there's a content creator, okay, who's very toxic. Let's say that content creator gets into a little bit of trouble because of his endless toxicity. What's a really good thing to do in that situation? Find any and every opening that you can exploit to change the conversation away from how toxic and a monstrous piece of shit you are to, like, I don't know, let's say someone said the word cracker. That will drive the discourse for the next 3-4 days, and not the fact that this specific content creator personally was invoking randomly partners and girlfriends of other people who weren't even originally invested in the beef whatsoever. It's basically releasing a pressure valve, okay? It's releasing a pressure valve. That's what Israel is doing as well. Now, I feel like this analogy works perfectly because said content creator may have even referred to himself as Israel, okay? Make a video about how you've been canceled for the 100th time. It's the new trend. I know. That's why I said canceled in air quotes, because it's a joke. Or mocking a person's OD dad. Oh, yeah. Or that. Isn't that crazy how none of that shit ever gets the same level of attention or play on Reddit or LSF or any number of different, like on the Asmongold subreddit, when in fact someone calling Ludwig a cracker gets like 10x the amount of play? Not even calling him a cracker specifically, but saying it's cracker behavior. We'll of course talk about that in a little bit, but The reason, let me bring it back. Let me bring it back to Israel, right? The reason why Israel is doing all this shit is the same exact thing they did during the ICJ court case opening up to Israel when South Africa took their case to the International Court of Justice, declaring Israel's actions to be genocidal and laying bare the claims that they had made. What did Israel do in retaliation? They, without any evidence whatsoever, and all of their evidence immediately fell apart, by the way, and actually was disproven instantaneously. Without any evidence, they said, UNRWA is Hamas. What happened after that? America and all of America's dick-riding little fucking dog Western nations that fund UNRWA, which is the lifeline of Palestinians, at a time when they desperately need it, they cut the funding because they wanted to turn around and say, oh, you guys are calling us genocidal? Well, guess what? Now we're going to cut a funding vehicle, a desperate vehicle for aid that you need in your time of need, when you need it the most. We're going to take that away from the entire Palestinian population. We are going to punish you for it. How dare you say we are doing a genocide? This is Israel behavior. And that's precisely what's happening right now. The media, alongside with Israeli counters, will do anything and everything in this moment of their bloodshed being more criticized than ever before. Okay? Because people are out there being like, hey, maybe this Rafah operation is like going a little too far, right? Israel's turning around and doing everything in its power to just like shift the attention back onto Palestinians in general, try to suppress their aid. They already shut off a bunch of other crossings, claiming that Hamas actually shot at the crossing, even though Hamas did not shoot at the crossing. They blew up a tent inside of a military base that the Israeli occupying force had actually set up 2 kilometers away from the fucking crossing. Meanwhile, Israelis are destroying aid shipments, trying to prevent the limited amount of aid from going in to Gaza. Just wonderful stuff in general. Okay? Yeah, sicking the gross, rabid, ultra-Zionist dog shit settlers on the aid trucks. Will Tokes, thank you for the 5, get the subs. So yeah, on that note, while all of this is going on, let's take a look at what's happening. Don't forget, things are bad. It might even get worse, but ultimately keep your eyes on the prize. Okay?